This is the Qtv Nightly News, which is also on Q Radio on 3.3 FM, and I'm Jacqueline Coley. Thank you for joining us. Here are the headlines. According to the latest findings released by the Gambia Bureau of Statistics during the dissemination of the 2026 Labour Force Survey, thousands of children in the Gambia are engaged in child labour. The Builders Association was launched in the Gambia over the weekend with a networking event held under the theme The Future of Technology and Entrepreneurship in the Gambia. Team Gambia at the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth Games enjoyed a vibrant display of unity and national pride on Sunday as athletes, government officials and members of the Gambian community in Scotland came together to celebrate Gambia Day. And in international news, Senegal's President Bassirou Diomaye Faye launches a new political party, formally ending his alliance with former Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko and the PASTEF party. In sports news, as the athletics competition gets underway, Gambian sprinters have taken to the tracks at the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth at Scotstoun Town in the men and women's 100-meter heats for a place in the semi-finals. Those were the headlines, now the news in detail. Thousands of children in the Gambia are still engaged in child labor, according to the latest findings from the Gambia Bureau of Statistics. Although officials say the numbers are declining, they warn that many children remain vulnerable to the practice. The findings were presented during the dissemination of the 2026 Labour Force Survey. Usman Jatta reports.
For many children, childhood is meant for learning, playing and dreaming about the future. But for thousands across the Gambia, it is also a time of work. Nyakasi MB Sanyang, the Gambia Statistician General, says more than 100,000 children are engaged in child labor across the country.
Using the National Child Labor Framework aligned with the Gambia's legal framework, the survey estimates that 12.9% of children aged 5 to 17 years, representing approximately 108,087 children, are engaged in child labor. The child labor increases with age, rising from 12.3% among children aged 5 to 15 years to 17.4% among those aged 16 to 17 years. It is also considerably more prevalent in rural areas, where 19.5% of children are engaged in child labor compared with 7.9% in rural areas.
The Gambia's labor laws prohibit child labor and protect children from exploitation. Employing children under 18 is generally prohibited except in limited training or educational settings. Despite the alarming figures, the survey does highlight some small but encouraging progress. Comparable estimates for Sustainable Development Goals 8.7.1 show child labor has declined from 9% in the 2023 Labour Force Survey to 7.4% in the first quarter of the 2026 survey.
At local government area, Kuntau records the highest prevalence of child labor at 34.7%, followed by Mansakonko at 22.6%, and Janjambure at 17.9%. In contrast, the lowest prevalence is observed in Kanifing at 3.5% and Banjul at 3.8%. Agriculture remains the dominant sector of child labor, accounting for 63.4% of children aged 5 to 15 years who are engaged in child labor. In addition, hazardous job affects 9.0% of children aged 5 to 17 years.
The latest findings show progress and the challenges that remain. Officials say ending child labor will require sustained action from government, development partners, communities and families to ensure every child has the right to learn, grow and fulfill their potential. Osman Jatta, Qtv News.
The Builders Association was launched in the Gambia over the weekend with a networking event held under the theme the future of technology and entrepreneurship in the Gambia, aimed at promoting innovation and driving the country's economic growth. Mam Nabuka was in attendance and she now reports.
The gathering brought together established and emerging entrepreneurs, industry leaders, policymakers, and civil society stakeholders to outline a unified direction for the nation's digital and commercial ecosystem. With 35 founding members from diverse sectors, the association's primary focus is to move beyond conceptual discussions toward measurable economic empowerment, job creation, and sustainable enterprise development across the country. Through the ignition of innovation, reclamation of professional excellence, transformation of industries, and sustaining long-term growth through collaboration, knowledge exchange, and mentorship. Dr. Ismaila Baji, chairman of the Builders Association, highlighted the values and qualities needed to become a catalyst for positive change. Echoing his remarks, founding member Amadou Chiko Sissoko delivered a powerful message encouraging the young builders in attendance to embrace innovation, leadership, and purpose.
Competence, character, and the last but not the least, love of nation. Nobody's coming to build Gambia for us. And every single person that I reach out to, that I see the love that you have for country because it's through your work.
You in this room are the sand, the gravel, and the earth on which the future of the Gambia will be built. And for that, I want to encourage you to take more risk, to drive your goals like your life depended on it, because the country is going to be built on the back of what you're doing, each and every one of you in this room.
A central highlight of the event was the establishment of the Builders Council of Elders, formed as a senior advisory body tasked with providing strategic governance, preserving institutional memory, and building sustainable public-private partnerships. Members of the council will mentor rising entrepreneurs while advising on policy frameworks designed to reduce barriers to entry for Gambian startups. Mohamed Jah, a member of the Builders Council of Elders, chairman of Q Group and the event's keynote speaker, centered his address on the future of technology and entrepreneurship in the Gambia.
Technology by itself has never transformed a nation. It is an enabler, not the engine. The engine has always been people with vision, with courage, with purpose. A country prospers not because it possesses the latest technology, but because its people know how to apply it to solve problems, to create value, and to improve lives. That is where entrepreneurship comes in. Technology creates possibilities. Entrepreneurship turns those possibilities into reality. Entrepreneurs recognize opportunity, take risks, build businesses, create jobs, and bring innovation into people's everyday life. This is how technology becomes prosperous.
Mr. Jah also outlined what he believes is needed to achieve meaningful and sustainable development in the Gambia.
Believing that I will only buy from others if a Gambian does not have it. This is what will cut the capital flight we are all complaining about. When we practice this and advocate it loudly and clearly to our friends, families, neighbors, government, I can assure you we will see development in its real sense. Let's buy Gambian and support Gambia. So to the young people here today, you are not the audience for this event. Your chairman said it. You are its assignment.
Mohamed Jah received an award for his pioneering role in expanding digital access and creating opportunities for young people in the Gambia. A question and answer session followed where he urged aspiring entrepreneurs to pursue knowledge, work hard, uphold strong values, and remain sincere in their endeavors. Association members were also presented with ceremonial sashes, symbolizing their commitment to leadership, good governance, and community service. The event additionally featured interactive panel discussions where panelists explored key challenges facing local businesses, including regulatory reform, access to finance, infrastructure development, and the collaboration needed to help Gambian technology ventures grow regionally. The Builders Association plans to roll out mentorship programs and policy advocacy initiatives to support the next generation of Gambian innovators. Mam Nabuka, reporting for QTV News.
Away from the competition, Team Gambia received a tremendous show of support on Sunday as athletes Government officials and members of the Gambian community in Scotland came together to celebrate Gambia Day on the sidelines of the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth Games. Aloisisa tells us more.
The colorful celebration brought together the Minister of Youth and Sports, Bakary Waibaji, the Gambia's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Her Excellency Dr. Fatimata Bensouda, the President of the Gambian National Olympic Committee, Baidudu Jallow, JNC executive members, Team Gambia athletes and officials, as well as members of the Gambian diaspora. The event showcased the country's rich cultural heritage through traditional music, dance, and community festivities, while providing a platform for Gambians living abroad to rally behind the national team. Addressing the gathering, JNC President Baidudu Jallow thanked the Gambian community for their overwhelming support and encouraged the athletes to continue competing with determination while upholding the Commonwealth values of excellence, friendship, and respect. Minister Baji reaffirmed the government's commitment to sports development, praising Team Gambia for proudly representing the nation and recognizing the vital role of the diaspora in strengthening national unity. High Commissioner Dr. Fatimata Bensouda described the celebration as a powerful demonstration of Gambian unity and patriotism abroad. She urged the athletes to remain focused and assured them of the High Commission's continued support throughout the Games. During the event, the Gambian High Commission in London also honored members of the Gambian and Friends in Scotland Community Association, GAMSCA, in recognition of their outstanding service to community cohesion and the welfare of Gambians in Glasgow. The celebration concluded with an atmosphere of pride, unity, and optimism, with renewed encouragement for Team Gambia as they continue flying the national flag higher at the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth Games. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
Residents of Banjul North and nearby communities on Saturday benefited from free health screening and medicine distribution exercise organized by the Office of the National Assembly member for Banjul South in partnership with the Cuban Embassy in the Gambia. Yafatuge has the details.
The outreach offers free medical consultations, health screenings and essential medicines through the Cuban Medical Brigade. At this event, medical specialists attended to patients and provided advice on preventing common health conditions. Honorable Modulamin Biba, the NAM for Banjul North, says the exercise was organized to improve access to healthcare and encourage residents to go for regular medical checkups.
We are indeed very honored today. Why? Because we believe one of the fundamental areas that we're working towards is to see how best we can attain what we call universal health coverage. And in that regard, we believe in doing so, we must strengthen our primary health care. And that is exactly what has been manifested today.
Community Imam Fode Kabar Dumbuya thanked the organizers on behalf of the residents and described the initiative as timely and says it will benefit many people in the community.
We express our sincere gratitude to our NAM and the government of Cuba for this generous support. This free health screening and medicine distribution is a commendable initiative that will benefit many people in our community, especially those who cannot easily afford medical care.
The head of the Cuban Medical Brigade in the Gambia, Dr. Ifkalia Mantia Conizares, says the brigade remains committed to supporting healthcare services and improving the well-being of Gambians.
The Cuban and Gambian people are brothers since many years ago, and the Cuban Medical Brigade has been in Gambia, has been 30 years ago in Gambia, helping to the people, the Gambian people, and we have the continue obtain successful in this work, and every time Gambia can be help contain to the help to the Cuban Medical Brigade.
Cuba's ambassador to the Gambia, Carmelina Ramirez Rodriguez, spoke about the long-standing friendship and partnership between Cuba and the Gambia.
And it's very easy for us because our medical brigade, that as the doctor previously said, has been in the country already for 30 years. And that objective, the main objective is to bring health to people. For us, it's a very nice initiative because we are here in Banjul, near, so we are neighbor. So what we are doing today is to reciprocate our friendship between Cuba and Gambia that already we have for 30 years and more, and developing this kind of cooperation.
Since that initial intervention, all those decades ago, Cuban doctors and health professionals have been unwavering in their continued support for the Gambia's healthcare system by providing medical services, training healthcare workers, and improving access to healthcare, especially in underserved communities. Reporting for QTV News, this is Yafatu Gaye.
That was in Banjul South, Banjul North and not Banjul South. We will now go for a commercial break. When we return, we have more national, international, and sports news stories. Do stay tuned. Welcome back, and this is QTV News. I am Jacqueline Coley. Here are the rest of the stories. Every year on July 26th, the world marks the International Day for the Conservation of the Mangrove Ecosystem, established by UNESCO in 2015 to highlight the importance of mangroves in protecting nature, supporting communities, and fighting climate change. For the Gambia, the day underscores the need to protect these vital coastal ecosystems. Usman Jata again.
The International Day for the Conservation of Mangroves is both a global celebration and a call to action to preserve one of the planet's most important coastal ecosystems. Mangroves are unique forests found where land meets the sea. They provide shelter for fish, oysters, and other marine species, protect coastlines from erosion and storms, and store large amounts of carbon, helping to address the growing challenge of climate change. The day aims to increase public awareness about the environmental and economic importance of mangroves, encourage sustainable management, and promote restoration efforts in areas where these ecosystems are under threat. Around the world, mangroves are disappearing at an alarming rate due to coastal developments, pollution, and climate pressures. Their loss threatens biodiversity, food security, and the livelihoods of millions of people who depend on coastal resources. In the Gambia, mangrove forests are essential to communities along the coast and riverbanks. Women involved in oyster harvesting and small-scale fisheries rely on these ecosystems for income and food. UNESCO says conserving mangroves contributes to climate action, protects marine biodiversity, and strengthens the resilience of vulnerable coastal communities. As the world marks this day, perhaps the most important reminder is that restoring and protecting mangroves is an investment in the environment, the economy, and future generations. Osman Jata, QTV News.
Next up, we have international news. Senegal's President Bassirou Diomaye Faye has launched a new political party, formally ending his alliance with former Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko and the Pastef Party, marking a major shift in the country's political landscape. Aliou Cisse reports.
The new party, Kirai, Republican Patriots, was unveiled last Saturday in Dakar. President Bassirou Diomaye Faye described the movement as the majority party in this country. The name Kirai, meaning sealed in the Wolof language, reflects the party's stated commitment to protecting Republican values, according to Faye. The party's full name also appears to be a direct challenge to Pastef, which calls itself Pastef the Patriots. Speaking to supporters, he said the party will be guided by ethics, transparency, and accountability, adding that political office should be viewed as a responsibility rather than a reward. He said the party is open to all Senegalese. The launch of the party formalized the separation of Faye and Sonko, who rose to power together through the African Patriots of Senegal for Work, Ethics, and Fraternity, commonly known as Pastef. Sonko, who was barred from contesting the 2024 presidential election, endorsed Faye under the campaign slogan, Diomaye is Sonko. Following Faye's victory, Sonko was appointed Prime Minister. However, disagreements over governance, economic policy, and the country's worsening fiscal challenges strained their relationship. The split deepened in May when President Faye dismissed Sonko as Prime Minister, after which Sonko and Pastef declined to participate in the new government. However, after the announcement of the new party's formation, some Pastef supporters have started switching allegiance to the Faye's camp. Political analysts warn that the split could trigger legislative paralysis and economic instability at a time when the country is struggling with a debt crisis. Despite the split, Sonko remains leader of Pastef, which retains a strong parliamentary majority with 130 out of 165 of the seats in the National Assembly, and he remains popular among many Senegalese. What remains to be seen is whether the two leaders can move beyond political rivalry and deliver on promises to strengthen the economy, tackle corruption, and improve living standards, something that both have claimed is their primary aim. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cissé.
Now in sports news, as the athletics competition gets underway, Gambian sprinters have taken to the tracks at the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth at Scott Stadium in the men and women's 100-meter heats for a place in the semi-finals. Under wet conditions, all the competitors failed to register either their seasons or personal bests. Our sports reporter Mahmoud Gajaga watched it all, and he now reports.
Gina Mariam Bass-Bitte sealed her place in the women's 100-meter semi-finals after finishing second in her heat in a timing of 11.35 seconds, well behind her season best of 11.22 seconds. Under wet conditions, she did not have an explosive start, but adjusted her speeds towards the finish line to ensure automatic qualification. She gave us her reaction after the run.
I feel good, I feel great. It's just a little bit cold, but I am good. Yeah, it's not because it's a heat, so I have to make to be qualified. So I just have to focus in my semester.
Young rising sprinter Aissatou C and Numansata Jaune had their first test of running at the Commonwealth Games. Despite falling short of their personal or season best, their exposure in competing against some of the Commonwealth's fastest sprinters could be a valuable learning moment for them. Numansata Jaune finished third in 11.63 seconds, while Aissatou C, known by her nickname Cheetah, came third in a time of 11.73 seconds. This was Aissatou C's post-race reaction.
Commonwealth Games, and I go all out. It was good though, but maybe the weather, it's kind of, bit annoying.
In the men's 100 meters heat, both Aliou Diouf and Ibrahima Kamara were not at their best. Diouf finished fourth in a time of 10.52, needing a photo finish to determine the third and fourth place. Ibrahima Kamara came third in heat 11 in a time of 10.29, narrowly missing on a semi-final place. This was his reaction.
I'm not really satisfied with it, but on the other part, I really thank God because I really have a very tough season this year, struggling with injury, but from recovering the injury, every race, I make my season best. So coming here today and then do 10.29, I wish I can do more to qualify.
Gina Mariam Bass-Bitte will be on the track again on Tuesday for some tough semi-finals, with the hope of securing a place in the women's 100 meters finals. The young emerging athletes like Aissatou C and Numansata Jaune will have another go in the 100 and 4x100 meter relay events. Mamadou Gajaga, QTV News, Glasgow, Scotland.
That was our reporter Mamadou Gajaga reporting from Scotstoun Stadium in Scotland. And before we end, here's a recap of the headlines. According to the latest findings released by the Gambia Bureau of Statistics during the dissemination of the 2026 Labour Force Survey, thousands of children in the Gambia are engaged in child labour. The Builders Association was launched in the Gambia over the weekend with a networking event held under the theme The Future of Technology and Entrepreneurship in the Gambia. Team Gambia at the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth Games enjoyed a vibrant display of unity and national pride on Sunday as athletes, government officials and members of the Gambian community in Scotland came together to celebrate Gambia Day. And in international news, Senegal's President Bassirou Diomaye Faye has launched a new political party formally ending his alliance with former Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko and the PASTEF party. In sports news, as the athletics competition got underway, Gambian sprinters took to the tracks at the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth at Scotstoun Stadium in the men and women's 100-meter heats for a place in the semi-finals. That's all for this bulletin. Join us again tomorrow at 8 p.m. for the QTV Nightly News. Many thanks for watching and bye.